Well, welcome to the 7 o'clock talk. And tonight we're going to talk about the omega 3 pathways and why the omega 3 pathways are so important. Because if you don't have the omega 3s, and there are more essential fatty acids than just the omega 3s, there's the omega 3s, omega 6s, omega 9s, and they keep discovering them. But in America, we typically tend to get a lot of the omega 6s and omega 9s because the omega 3s we get from cold water fish, we get them from walnuts, flax, chia, soy, non GMO, traditionally raised and fermented. Um, let's see, cold water fish, walnut, flax, chia, soy, enriched eggs, and canola. I am not a big fan of canola. Canola tends to be one of those things that is a byproduct of all of the industrial processing. And so it can have a lot of stuff in it. And one of the things that they report in canola oil, I believe, is hexane. And that's just not something that you want to eat. If you guys have any questions, ask, and we will get right in there and answer them as best we can. Jessica is currently working on her flyers for her IVs, and we'll actually talk a little bit about those again. And where do we get our omega 6s? Omega 6s, we get tons of in vegetable oil, red meat, not pastured, confinement fed, um, shellfish, cheese, evening primrose oil, barrage oil. But you can see this one, and this one, and this one. Those are staples of the American diet. And what we really have to be careful of is overloading the diet with those. So, what I want to take you through is actually the pathway that the omega 3 fatty acids go through. I want you to understand how this works. And so, when you're consuming the omega 3 fatty acids and the omega 6s and 9s, these use enzymes to go through and to change everything. They use the desaturase enzymes, and they also use the elongase enzymes. Hey, I think she's done with her flyer. She's coming to join us. Welcome.
Hey, Miss Kathy.
So we have the omega 3s and the omega 6s, and they use the desaturase enzymes and the elongase enzymes. And there won't be a test at the end of this. This is for me to understand so I can help you. But the first enzyme that we see is called delta 6, and it's a desaturase. This is inhibited by age and alcohol. It is upregulated by B vitamins, by zinc, magnesium, all of these things that we find everybody is deficient in. And that's why we're doing so many IVs, because people are coming in and their nutrients are low and they can't go through the pathway. So if you can't take your what we call alpha linoleic acid, and so this is your canola, and this is your flax, chia, hemp, those things. If you eat this and you don't have this, then you can't go down the pathway. You can't continue down to the next one, which is called stearidonic acid. And you inhibit taking linolenic acid on the omega-6 side and going down. You can actually take linolenic acid and you can convert it eventually into DHA. But there's a lot of steps between getting from here. There's actually 5 enzymes, 5 steps that it takes to get there. And that's why this is so very important to understand, that when you cut out part of this by substituting or by supplementing with omega-3s, it's very important. But remember, it is inhibited, it's taken down by agent alcohol, and it is upregulated by zinc, the B's, magnesium. Oh, goodness. Let's see. I have a cheat sheet over here. There's a bunch of them. Oh, vitamin C is a big one. So if you don't have these in your body, then you're not going to do this conversion anyway, because you can't use this. And so alpha linolenic acid goes to stearidonic acid. The next enzyme that we have is we go to delta, my finger stops at 6 elongase. And it's pretty simple. That one's not inhibited by a lot. If you have a crappy diet, if you're not sleeping, so why does this matter? So you got to look at the 5 fundamental things that all health comes from. And all health comes from proper sleep, getting enough of it, controlling your stress, your nutrition. And that's why we see so many people that are going down the omega-6 pathway once again, because they don't have this because of the way they eat. So you are pro-inflammatory and you're not converting. So your nutrition is down, and that's why the IVs are all the rage and good for you. It's more important that they're good for you rather than all the rage.
And you can absorb 100% of those.
That is true. They are liposomal vitamins, and they are 100% absorbed in the cell, in the bloodstream, right where you need them, right for the mitochondria, just to go to work. And so, movement, exercise. The big thing about movement and exercise with this is you don't want to overdo it. If you think you've got to go hit the CrossFit gym every day, or if you got to go stress your body every day, then you're going to raise cortisol. And as you're going to see on the next one, so linolenic acid is converted into GLA. GLA goes through the elongase and comes out as dihomo. I'm not even going to try to write it. Dihomo gamma linolenic acid. Stearidonic acid goes through the delta 6 elongase and comes out as eicosanotic acid. Yeah, I need more Latin. STE tetraenoic acid. Yeah, I'm struggling on that one. Spelling never my strong suit. So here comes the next rate limiting step. So we're going to take the eicosanotetranoic acid, and we're going to take the dihomogammalinoleic acid, and we're going to put them through another enzyme, and this is the delta 5 desaturase. And what happens is we now see our first anti-inflammatory, what is known as eicosanoid. So if you go read Dr. Barry Sears' work, he talks about the eicosanoids. I think his diet, his nutrition plan was called the Zone Diet back in the day. And so this goes into what we now know as EPA. So do you see how that is it's 2 enzymes, 3 conversions to get to EPA from your flax, your walnut, your canola, your hemp, and your chia.
What about your cumin oil?
Cumin oil comes, I don't know where cumin, I think that comes in straight as EPA. That one's, I've not done enough studying on. But so we come into EPA right there. Now, delta 5 desaturase has a rate limiting step. And if you come in with EPA in copious amounts, it inhibits that, and therefore the DGLA does not form arachidonic acid. Here's your Batman analogy popped into my head. The guy named Two-Face. Half of him was evil and half of him was good. You have to have arachidonic acid. It's very important in your immune system, but you want to balance. So he has lipoxins that he gives off that are actually anti-inflammatory. But if he's allowed to do his own thing, he's very pro-inflammatory. You don't want that to happen. And that's why EPA comes in, and EPA has resolvins. So there are some very specific EPAs. If I have somebody with an autoimmune disease, we can give them a very special type of EPA, and it's called pro-resolvin mediators. We can give those pro-resolvin mediators, which are part of EPA, to inhibit that autoimmune disease without giving drugs. So has resolvins and is anti-inflammatory. Inhibits the delta 5 desaturase from converting a lot of ALA into pro-inflammatory cytokines. The delta 5 desaturase is upregulated by our old friend insulin. So let's take a step back and tie this into the real world. And the real world says if you're stressed, if you ruminate on thoughts, if you sit here and think about the next thing that can go wrong, I love her to death. She had an absolute flipping meltdown over an earring.
It was a special earring. It was my earring.
She worried about that for 2 days. Cortisol just went, blood sugar goes, insulin goes,
I'm a good steward of my things, and I was really upset by it.
That's okay. But
I didn't give up.
You took arachidonic acid.
Yes, I did.
And let him go nuts.
Yes, I did. I needed more.
And became very pro-inflammatory. I don't know why my hands hurt. I don't know why my hip hurts. So she is also a ruminator.
Yeah, I'm a very caring individual, very passionate.
So
I may be inflamed, but I'm impassioned.
So then, after we have the insulin going nuts, then we start to look at what happens next. And EPA.
You pray to St. Anthony.
Yeah. Yes, you do. So then you go to the next enzyme, which is delta 5. Why is this being so funky? So then you go to delta 5 elongase, and EPA becomes DPA, docopentanoic acid. And there is a rate limiting step here as well. DPA can do a reverse transcription into EPA. And actually, when you get to DHA, which is very good for the brain, so
breast milk.
The EPA here is very good for nerves in general. And when we have people that have diabetic neuropathy, we give ALA because that helps with remyelination. That helps with decreasing inflammation. And it converts to EPA. As long as we we remove the things that create insulin, that create an insulin spike. We remove simple sugars and simple carbohydrates, which shunt everything to the omega-6 side. And DHA can retroconvert into DPA. Arachidonic acid converts into adrenic acid, and it'll retroconvert into arachidonic acid. Delta 5 elongase, there's another step here called beta oxidation. I need my whole chain so I see everything. The delta 5 elongase, delta 5 desaturase goes to here, goes to delta 5 elongase, goes to beta oxidation, and actually beta oxidation kicks out your DHA. The elongase goes here, that goes to there, and then that comes back out. If you can read my scribbles, you're awesome. So
they're awesome even if they can't read your scribbles.
DHA, DPA, this also has resolvins. And you can supplement directly. You can take EPA directly with cold water fish, wild game, and enriched eggs. You can do the same with DHA. And believe it or not, we hear, because we're in the flyover states, you hear all kinds of stuff about salmon. You hear all kinds of stuff about, the fish, and be careful, the tuna and what, crappie, bluegill. What's that one fish, the flying fish, flying carp? The Chinese flying carp, that's an invasive species down south, evidently has tremendous amounts of EPA, or omega-3 fatty acids. And so they're trying to actually figure out how to present it to us so we will start to eat this. But honestly, if you think about it, if you can start to eat that, it's very high. And because it's not a predatory fish, low mercury. I've been looking to find this stuff, and I'm about to plan a trip down to Tennessee so that I can just go harvest a bunch. There's a no limit catch.
They jump in your boat.
Yeah, just go Google fishing for Chinese carp.
You don't even have to fish for them. They just volunteer for your boat.
Oh, they'll knock you out if you're flying down the river. It's
lady got her jaw broken.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Well, that wasn't awesome, but it's awesome that they just catch themselves in your boat.
Yeah. So this is why we're so passionate. This is why one of my foundational
that's right, Terry.
tests,
we could come to North Carolina. You have those flying fish.
Actually, do you? We'll come down. But that is why these are so important. That's why we run one of our foundational tests is what's your omega-3 level? Because guess what? If your omega-3 level is low, then you're not going to be anti-inflammatory, and you're going to live on ibuprofen. You're going to live on aspirin, Advil, and actually with vitamin D levels, you can tie this into COVID. Your resolvins, when we're talking about the resolvins with EPA and we're talking about the resolvins with DHA, those resolvins are the things that tell the bouncer, your immune system, hey, everything's cool, go back and have a seat. And that's what we have to do. Our immune system is so active because of the arachidonic acid that the bouncer just stays pissed off and he never settles down. What kills people with COVID? It's the immune system hyper response. So you need to know what your levels of EPA, DHA are. You need to know what your levels of vitamin D. Vitamin D is also an immune regulator. So these are very, very important things. And that's why we want to talk about foundational things. Sleep is very important. I would highly, highly recommend everybody getting an Oura ring. And as you saw, Miss Kathy said hello here on the show. Hi, Kath. She has an Oura ring.
You
And
love her rings.
yes, and you can track your sleep, and it will show you deep sleep. It'll show you your sleep score. Now, is it as good as a somnogram? No. But the good thing is you can go along and you can test things. I have never seen anything move the needle on her sleep like this omega-3 black currant oil that she is taking. And it is absolutely unbelievable how much it has moved the needle on her.
I love it. It's spicy motor oil. That's what it tastes like.
And so you can see
That's what it tastes like.
you can see my readiness score was an 85. My sleep score was a 77. You can actually go in and break that down and you can see my total sleep. You can see my efficacy. I was up early today because of Libby. She started whining. My REM sleep, I got an hour and 11 minutes. My deep sleep, I got 51 minutes. My latency was 5 minutes and my timing was optimal. So when you do that, that allows the body to rest, relax, and repair. Decreases stress. It helps the body at that point in time go through and anything that's pro-inflammatory, settle it down. It'll also help you go into autophagy because you should be fasted at this point in time. Movement, once again, we have to be very careful with movement. You don't want to overdo it. Me now at 51, going to 5 days of CrossFit is going to break my body down.
Well, you kind of need to know what your body does because some people actually would benefit from more sleep versus getting up early and going to the gym.
Yep.
Going to the gym would actually make them kick out cortisol, which would create a huge problem for
Yes. And so, but quiz time. What cofactors are needed to do the first conversion? Magnesium, zinc, B's. Those all help you convert and use delta 6 desaturase to move things down the line. And that's why, I have yet to have anybody come in and do even your micronutrient profile was low.
I didn't get it done yet.
You did in one of the Genova tests that we did on you. But we need to do some serial IVs with you, bring that up and see if we can't decrease the insulin, decrease the stress, and go from there. We just need to line them up. Let's see, what did I forget? Anything? Age and alcohol inhibit the very first step. Zinc, B's, vitamin C help increase the first step. EPA decreases the conversion of dihomogammalinoleic acid to ALA. So you want to inhibit that step. Not maybe inhibit. If you're healthy, you don't want to inhibit. If you're not healthy, you want to inhibit that step because you're going to be already inflamed. If you're inflamed, all of this stuff is going to hit your mitochondria. It's going to cause you to wear down. You're not going to have any energy. You're going to hurt. This all ties together. And let's see. I'm really actually kind of interested in fishing for those Chinese carp. Any questions? Because with that being said, I have overtalked my limit and I love teaching. So if you have any questions, fire away. Have a good evening.
See you later.
Actually, as always, I'm going to say, as always, you are doing nutritional IVs. We have another thing coming down the pipe that will actually augment that.
Yeah, we're kind of excited about that, but we can't tell you about it yet.
We can't tell you about it
yet. We got to
yet.
experiment on ourselves.
Yes. And then, let's see, that's coming down the pipe. You have the IVs now. So if you feel like if you have brain fog, if you just feel ill, if you are inflamed, that is one of the first steps to start to get. You can think of an IV as a loading dose.
You should never eat farm-raised salmon, Terry. It's gross.
Actually, sis, they have done a lot of studies on farm-raised salmon. They add the color to it so that it looks pink. Then those things live and eat their own feces, and they just sit in this. They're actually kept in big nets, in big pods in the ocean, and they're given all kinds of antibiotics, and they don't even tell you that. We watched one of those.
They have lower omega-3s and things like that.
Yeah, we watched one of those. I call it a vegan conspiracy film. You have to watch those things and take it with a grain of salt, because they want you to eat stuff like the Impossible Burger, which is
horrible for the environment.
Yeah, well, it's horrible for you and the environment. But what was that? It was on Netflix, and it was on omega-3s, and the fish had, growths on them, and of course, they probably went to the worst place you can go. But still, it's the idea that they're not allowed to be fish and they're not allowed to do what they need to do. IVs, if you're having inflammation issues, hit us up, because we have questionnaires. We can ease you into the program. We can start to help you out. We want to create good habits so that you can just be healthy.
We can do labs. We can ship them to you. You can get your labs drawn in the city that you live. We get the results.
Oh yeah, I can send you an omega-3 fatty acid test anywhere you live, and that will come to me. And you want your omega-3 fatty acids to be at least an 8. I like 12.
And everybody wants to go to fish oils. I can't tolerate them. I just don't like them. But there's other options. You just got to find one that works for you. And if you haven't ever tried black
currant oil,
cumin oil, my beautiful friend introduced me to it, and I've had awesome results. And I actually like it. I'd laugh and tease and say it tastes like spicy motor oil, but it is actually kind of good.
Kind of tastes like oregano, like a burnt pizza oregano.
Real spicy. it's kind of a robust flavor. I like it. I'll just drink it in a shot.
And so the only shots she'll do. And let's see, I really think that's about it. Remember, health is Kathy says turpentine.
Yeah.
Health is per person. I can sit here and tell her to take fish oils, but she's not going to. So it's experience that says, hey, Kathy found this omega-3 oil and it's affected her sleep in a positive way. And that's the experience and the sharing. And that's what we want with this community. So you all have a wonderful evening. Thank you from Integrated Health of Indiana. Like I said, any questions, go ahead and hit us up. Dr. Miller at integratedhealthofindiana.com, Mrs. Indiana Backdoc at gmail.com, and we will be happy to help you out. Have a good evening.